Okay, so I'm really thinking about what Heidegger called care, and he means the temporal structure of existence, right? I really and totally give a fuck. This is my playful way, like, of course, right? To be an animal is to really and totally give a fuck. You do not want the concrete block to smash your foot. You're going to jump out of the way of the oncoming truck. You're really hungry and cold, clean water. I'm sorry, you're really thirsty in the desert, and then you get this cold, clean water, right? So, existence is preferential disclosure of world. The water is there as really desirable, or maybe you don't need it, right? The girl is there, is really beautiful to you, but maybe she's not your type, she's okay, right? So preferential disclosure. The value structure of the world, right? If we're phenomenologically honest, the beauty is in the object. Now, even though the object doesn't show the same beauty to all of us, to experience the beauty, typically in terms of a desire that might not be fulfilled, right? There's this beautiful painting, but you can't afford it. You can't take it home with you, right? So if the beauty is inside you, why do you need the painting, right? So just, this is not really about some sort of dualistic theological, it's like a pointing, like, I think anybody who listens to this knows this is not supposed to sort of mirror a true reality. It's a pointing that attempts to be honest, and it's always tentative. Okay, so and the beautiful girl, maybe she doesn't give you her number, right? You are subject to the beauty of the world, in terms of desire, right? Chasive. This is chasive. And then there's the evasive maneuvers. So chasive and evasive maneuvers. And the structure of existence is sort of the enacting of this chase and evasion. So it's a temporal navigation of quality. So I don't really have a better word yet, but the redness of red, the thirstiness of being thirsty, right? Not the labels, but this brute sub-rational, what it is like this, what it is likeness, or how it is theireness, So I don't think we can put the redness of the rose into the sound, right? And we can't put the sound of the word sound, into a mark. This is just some sort of weird primary thing, and I think like Plato's unwritten doctrine talks about this. Saussure talks about this in his discussion of the sound image. So it's really a fascinating theoretical issue. And what's interesting to me, I think, is that strangely, Plato gives us a true materialism, which is along the lines of Feuerbach, like what you could mean by materialism if you're trying to contrast. So think of it this way: there was a time when the materialist did not have his head in the clouds, right? The materialist was kind of a realistic person in this pragmatic sense, right? But materialism became physicalism, and it became, one of the theological positions within the seminary, right? So the physical object became a kind of mathematical Platonism thing. It has, it was behind the experienced objects, right? And the physical object was transfigured or lifted out of the realm of care, right? Because animals that care are biased. The meaning, the beauty of the painting, that's put inside the subject, right? So basically all of the quality of the object, including its value quality, is sort of absurdly and maniacally stuffed inside the individual subject. And what is sort of left as the real object is this sort of disappearing core of vague mathematical Platonism. And if you actually, study, how numerals function, really in terms of, you could say the materialist Plato, then this whole thing falls apart. Not that it's proven false, because the whole mere metaphor starts to look ridiculous, So it's not that you refute something in the theologic of the seminary, you just make the seminary look ridiculous to the seminarian. I could have said seminarian, but I'm thinking of them almost as creatures who live on another planet at the Institute for Research into Trans-Empirical Reality. So you can see that I'm indulging in a kind of playfully aggressive rhetoric here, right? So if you no longer believe in the God's pure logic of the seminary, you know, you're just another primate trading signs, and there are different ways that you might try to point at or assert yourself, right? The part of mathematical Platonism, it's connected to what you see in analytic philosophy, which is something like an obsession with these formal systems, these ice-cold formal systems. People pretend that the human mind is it's a computer. I'm not saying the metaphor has no value at all, but this is why I call it floating mouth belief, because these people are enacting a care structure, you know, enacting a persona, asserting themselves, you know, as a singular primate with important things to say, you know. The world, they're living in what I would call the empirical world, while they sort of metaphysically try to pretend that it's all inside their head, right? But they're living in it with, you know, gusto, completely invested. So that is the sort of performative contradiction, or that is why the mouth is floating. The mouth is not with the rest of the body. Okay, so one of the things I was kind of amused with here, Mr. Shingles, or Mr. Tridorf, you know, I make up these names, right? He gives a below-the-neck-ology of technology. The tooth is in the pudding.